if they're not going to put me on the same platform that they use to tear me down, to build another woman up, why would I apologize?
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel. If this is your first time here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And so let's just get into this conversation. At first, I thought I was going to do a reaction to the interview that Arionne Curry, known as, or I should say always known as, Martell Holt's side piece, mistress, new baby mama from Love and Marriage Huntsville. But the interview aired last night and I had so many reactions to it as I was listening to it, and I just didn't want to listen to her speak much more after that interview, honestly. So I'm just going to share my thoughts on what I heard when I listened to it last night. And I want to get your thoughts on what she shared, what was revealed, and your thoughts on what I thought about the interview. Okay, so let's be clear. Arionne Curry, she is getting what she wanted, even though she's claiming in this interview that she is not happy because she does not want her, what she says was, quote, her likeness being used. Now, she shared a few things that just made me cringe a little bit in terms of the intelligence factor. I'm not saying the girl is not smart, but a few things that she revealed, it just made you question the intelligence level there. And it also let me know that it made a whole lot of sense why this person could be caught up with somebody like Martell, who is a classified
ass man. Sorry, Martell, it is what it is.
Yeah, I just had to let Tasha say that because she laid it out very, very well and described what he is. The guy is a piece of crap, and if you have any intelligence about yourself, to get caught up with somebody like him who is a narcissist, he only really loves himself. I don't care how much he says that he loves his family and he wanted his family. If you really love your family, you would not put them in a position like he did, where he was just clearly out for himself and he was extremely selfish. He's 9 years older than her, and I'm sorry, I don't care if she is not a 19-year-old at this moment. She comes across as extremely immature. A lot of the things that she said during this interview, it was like, what are you talking about? When she said that she grew up in a two-parent household, but then what she was describing was that she was raised by her mom and her dad was not in the household. So Tasha K, she called her on it. She's like, "What? Wait a minute. I thought you said you grew up in a two-parent household." And she's like, "Oh, no. I misspoke." No, you didn't misspeak. You just don't really know what a two-parent household is, I'm assuming. And that's why you said that. But if you had both of your parents in your life, then just say that. But that doesn't mean that you grew up in a two-parent household. Anyway, the girl wants the attention and she is just pissed off that they've had a number of seasons of this show. During the airing and running of these seasons of this show, she has been in this situationship with Martell, and she is upset that she cannot be a part of the show because she wants to be on the show. As much as she may act like she doesn't care about it or she doesn't want that, she does. That's why she's being interviewed by Tasha K, which she knows Tasha K has a huge platform. She knows that Tasha K has had the opportunities via other reality shows to be mentioned. So she gets a lot of traction. She has, close to 1 million subscribers on her channel. And this woman, she wants to be honestly, I feel on the same level as Melody. Now, the things that disturbed me was how much she and Melody were similar, except for their skin tone. I felt like she was a darker skin tone version of Melody. If you close your eyes and listen to her speak, the tone of her voice, she sounds a lot like Melody. She really does. And man, she shared some things that it was just like, wow, you were in this man's life for all of these years, but then you claim that, she says, no one goes after a married man. That's not true. There are a lot of people that go after married men, or just married people in general. There are a lot of people that try it to see if they can go there. And so she may not have technically went after Martell, but for her to say, well, nobody goes after a married man, like Tasha said, no, that's not true. And Tasha was right to correct her on that, because that is not the truth. There are some people who do go after married people. But whether she says that I didn't break up their marriage, she says I was not in their household. You may not have been in their house, but he was inside of you. And that is what caused the breakdown and deterioration of the marriage. And Melody finally said, you know what, enough is enough. I am done. And I don't care if she says, no, the storyline is fake, because when the show got picked up, they were going through a divorce, but the producers told them to call it off. I don't believe that. I really don't. If anyone knows how marriages are, if you are going through struggles and situations in your marriage and you are having a period of separation, even the Bible talks about that. Like, it's good to separate for a period of time if you are having issues in your marriage, but then you reconcile, you try to work it out, and you get back together. I believe that is what they were trying to, I wouldn't even say they, I would say more so that is what Melody was trying to do. And listen, whether she likes what Melody is doing or not, she has to deal with it. You can't be in this position where you were with a married man, you were with another woman's husband, you have had a baby with this person, and you've been pregnant several times with this man, because she said she had a few pregnancy terminations. One was a miscarriage and others were, you know, she paid to have them terminated. Just, that's what she said. You've been with this man doing all of these things, and you're upset that Melody is making music off of her own experience and choosing to level up in her life and make money and do what she needs to do to provide for her family. Because let's face it, Martell is a loser. He took money out of their bank account, their joint bank account, and went and filed for bankruptcy. On this most recent season of Love and Marriage Huntsville, he went to go and talk to one of the other guys about credit repair. Like, he's in a space right now where he is losing. And he didn't even have a builder's license. Melody was in the position where she had the upper hand in the relationship, and she was the one that had the licenses that were needed for them to have the business that they had, the real estate development business. And I just don't understand why she is trying to make Melody out to be the bad person. Well, I mean, I sort of get it, but then she doesn't have a right to feel that way. You cannot be with someone else's husband and then get mad when this person has finally said, I'm done with this person, but you know what? I'm going to speak through whatever avenues or methods or venues that are available to me for me to release this from my system and get it out, and yeah, make a bag off of it if I can, and provide for the 4 children that I have with the man that you chose to keep sleeping with. Because as much as she tried to say, well, you know, it's easy, as people say, like, I told him to leave me alone, but people said, well, you don't have to tell him to leave you alone. You could leave him alone. But she's like, well, it's not that easy. Well, you chose to continue to be hanging on to a guy that was not fully committed and fully available to you. Period. And so when she says she has a gripe with Oprah now, she's like, you know, this is, as a black woman, most black women, they look up to Oprah, and I saw her as someone that I looked up to and aspired to, and to see how they're using me on the show, it just really puts me in a position where I can't respect her. Like, really? Oprah is not producing the show. This is her network, and quite frankly, her name is on the network. Didn't she sell the network? She may still have an interest in it, but it's not technically even her network anymore. So let's just be honest and be clear about that, Arionne. This is not Oprah's doing. And if you think that you're going to be like Meghan Markle and have a sit-down interview with Oprah Winfrey to talk about your plight, being this loser Martell Holt's mistress for many years, you have another thing coming, because you're delusional. If you really think that that's going to happen, it's never going to happen. You are no Meghan Markle. Period. And so if she truly felt that way about her not wanting to have her, like she says, her likeness being used in the show, which again goes back to the intelligence factor, because her likeness was never used on the show. They never showed a picture of her. They never had any video footage of her. They had a little bit of audio from one phone call that Martell had with her when he was on speakerphone with her when he was driving, and he said to her, I'm gonna need to have a DNA test done. He said that. He called her a peasant. The things that she's saying, she's making out everyone else to be the bad guy. She's making out all of the other couples and Melody to be the evil villains of the situation that are constantly talking about her and bringing her up. She was not the sole focal point of the show. I get it. Absolutely, Martell and Melody's storyline with all of this infidelity and then him winding up getting this person pregnant definitely was a large part of the show, and definitely garnered a lot of the storylines and the views of the show. But that's a real situation. That is their life. She is proving it right now by having this interview with Tasha K, that this was real and it was warranted. It was a real life situation, that it would be crazy for them not to talk about it. It would be crazy for Melody not to discuss it. And if she always had aspirations of being a singer and she was able to make music and share her experience, isn't that what people do who are in the music industry all the time? They make music off of their experiences, off of their struggle, off of their pain. She's no Mary J. Blige. I get that. But isn't that what Mary J. Blige and other singers and songstresses have done? Rappers do. Like, it's what you do when you do music. And because she has this platform that she has access to, she's utilizing it. And that's why Arionne is mad. She said that if they don't give her access to the same platform to be able to speak on her own accord, then she will not issue an apology. Well, you're not going to get that. So create your YouTube channel, create your podcast, do your social media platform posts, and do what you need to do there. And I'm quite sure she will. But you're not going to be a part of Love and Marriage Huntsville, especially with Melody being one of the executive producers now. It's not going to happen, sweetheart. And the other castmates and Melody are not to blame. Can anyone blame Melody for not wanting to have this heifer, I'm just going to put it like that, on the show? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Most wives are not going to have respect for a woman who has done things that has caused the breakdown and deterioration of their marriage. And any woman who is in a situation like that, that was on the other end, that are not the wife, of course they're going to say, well, it's not my fault that your marriage didn't work out. I'm not the cause. You need to take it out with your man. But you were a part of it. No, the man is not innocent. Absolutely not. And we already know Martell is far from innocent, but you cannot do the things that you have done and then get upset with the wife for taking the situation into their own hands and handling it the way that they decide to handle it. If it's not causing you physical harm, I'm sorry if it's causing you, if it is causing you any mental or emotional distress. But how do you think Melody felt? This woman had 4 children with this man, and whether people say, well, why would she get pregnant for him again? I agree. I'm not saying I disagree with that, especially, if they were in a bad situation. But she was married to him. It's not like Melody was Martell's baby mama and they never had a marriage and she wound up, getting pregnant after they hooked up. No. When you're married to your spouse, even if the guy is a dickhead, sometimes you wind up having relations with that dickhead. And that's what Melody did. And she wound up getting pregnant. Listen, again, I'm not saying that she isn't reaping some of the consequences of having another child with this man, but overall he was still her husband, so she wasn't in the wrong to have another baby. Is it making things easier? No, because she even let it out when they were doing the reunion. She felt stuck in Huntsville and she can't move. And it is because of the children, because of the joint custody, or I don't even really think it's joint custody, or maybe it is joint custody, but he gets a certain amount of visitation. And because of the situation with the co-parenting, she's not allowed to move to another state and city, which I'm quite sure she wants to do. And she's feeling stuck in Huntsville. And listen, until that last baby turns 18, or hey, if it happens and Martell is no longer living before the last child turns 18 and it nullifies the custody agreement court order, then she's stuck in Huntsville and she has to live there. It sucks, but that's the situation that she is in right now. So Arionne making herself out to be the victim, it's not going to work. You are not the victim, and your likeness was not being used on the show, but it is a part of Melody's true life, real life story, not just a made up storyline like we always hear about these reality shows. Well, what's their storyline? They don't have a storyline. I always feel like that's so ridiculous. And yeah, there may be some people on social media, not social media, but on these reality shows that are coming across as boring and not really quote unquote giving anything. But if that's their real life, then that's their real life, because the fake phony storylines, that's another end of the spectrum that that shouldn't be going on either. But Melody, that's like her real-time thing. But even with all of that being said, Melody was focused on building her business. The other couples, they're doing other things. It's like Arionne is making this show about her. And I'm sorry, I've watched the last few seasons. I didn't watch it from the very beginning, all of the episodes of Love and Marriage Huntsville. But as far as I could tell from what I have seen, it's not like Arionne makes it out to be. They're not always sitting around talking about Arionne. They're not always sitting around talking about Martell's mistress. They're not always sitting around and bringing up the baby and this and that and the other where it involves Arionne. She is making it more about her than they're making it about her. It was just an amplified situation because it is unreal. It is very messy. It is real life as well. So to have a situation where you have a married man on a reality show cheating on his wife over and over again, gets this person pregnant, and all of this is going on, and this wife saying, you know what, I've had it up to there, I'm done. She files for the divorce. She finally gets the strength to really get up and leave, and now she's really doing it for herself and really has no choice but to, because she can't even collect on the money that she is owed from Martell because he went and filed for bankruptcy. He's a goon. He's a narcissist. He's a bankrupt narcissist, a broke narcissist, an egotistical. Like, if Arionne sees this show as everyone is against her and she is tired of them making the show about her, and she's not seeing how much of a piece of crap he is, and she's not seeing how he treats Melody, like, do you really think that you're going to be treated any better? You see how he treated his wife. That's what I don't understand. And people sometimes, I believe, forget or just don't know that life is about sowing and reaping. You reap what you sow. She has planted some disgusting, despicable seeds of deceit, of discord, committing adultery with someone else's someone else's husband. I guess technically she didn't commit adultery because she wasn't married, but fornicating with an adulterer because he committed adultery against his wife, against his family, against his household. He broke up his household with his beautiful children and has his children going in a situation, dealing with a situation where they're having to go back and forth between mama's house and daddy's house, which is more like daddy's mama's house or grandma's house, because it's just it's very selfish. He is an extremely selfish person, and instead of her thinking, which she did say in the interview, that she's not with him, I don't know if that's the truth. I think she's really saying that because she doesn't want to look any more stupid than she is being called by people, because if she came out and said, yeah, we're together, she already knows what it's going to be and what the comments are going to be like if she said that she and he were together. And then he clearly isn't the type to want to really be. Even though he says he loves marriage, I think he loves control, and he wants to be in a relationship with someone where he can control them. He wants to be in a relationship with someone, even though he doesn't really want to be in a marriage, because he wants to be able to do whatever he wants to do, but he wants to have a woman who will be there at snap of a finger, beck and call, doing what he wants them to do. He's made comments that are just extremely archaic, a number of different things that he said, from telling Melody, don't talk about what's going on in our household outside of our house. You were hurting this woman and you wanted her to suffer in silence and not speak about what's going on. And then, he's made comments about, y'all women, y'all run y'all mouths too much. Men don't like women. They always running their mouth. He is so archaic, and you don't even have the right to talk about what a woman should be doing or what a woman should not be doing or should be saying or should not be saying, because the Bible says a man that doesn't take care of their home is worse than an infidel, worse than an unbeliever. He doesn't even really take care of his household. And I don't care if people say, oh, he's a good father and he does this and he does that. The things that he did proves that he doesn't take care of his household, because it's not just about working and buying food and making sure your children have clothes to wear, and if they're going to private school, the tuition is paid and they're able to get back and forth and they can get their hair done and what. No, it's not just about their physical needs. It's also about their emotional needs. It's about their spiritual needs, taking care of those things, taking care of your household. He did not take care of his household. He allowed his household to be destroyed because of the selfishness of his desires and his dick. Period. He does not care about anybody but himself. So if all Arionne saw from watching these seasons of Love and Marriage Huntsville is how everyone is using her likeness and she's tired of it, then you really don't know who your enemy really is. You're sleeping with the enemy. You have slept with the enemy if you're not sleeping with him, Martell, anymore. But the enemy is Martell. Melody is not your enemy. As much as I don't really care for Marceau, he's not your enemy. Maurice is not your enemy. The other ladies are not your enemy. Martell is your enemy. And even your own actions and your own words, you know, the Bible says by your words you'll be justified and by your words you'll be condemned. You are your own enemy. You are proving that you're just really not that bright and that intelligent. And I know that I know Tasha K was trying to hold back on several occasions, and it was apparent, but she really is a good interviewer. Say what you want to say about Tasha K, but she does do good interviews when she really does interviews, especially these types. And she was extremely professional, even though I could tell there were times where she really wanted to go there, but she called her out on a number of things and it was only right. She said, you know, yeah, it was good for you because you were convenient for him. You were available whenever he wanted you to be available for him. He was supplying you with things that you know, wanted or needed at the time. You know, you were part-time. He didn't have to hear you nagging about the kids or the bills or this or that and the other. Like, you didn't have to deal with all of those things. But Melody, she had 4 kids. 4 kids. And so Arionne, in this interview, the things that she shared, I could understand where she was coming from. Slightly, but does it make it right? No, it doesn't. She's wrong. So, do I believe that she was lying about everything? I don't believe she was lying about everything. I definitely believe her when she said that the other men were with other women or other ladies or tricks or, you know, treats or whatever, you know, these chicks were. I don't believe that she was lying about that, especially Marceau. Marceau clearly does not really like his wife, Tasha. I feel like he feels he's stuck. Period. Tasha's extremely annoying, but I'm not going to make this about that. I just really wanted to talk about this because Arionne, overall, the interview that Tasha K did was good, but it revealed a number of things about this person that was confirmed for me. And I'm sure Melody is probably just laughing about it right now, thinking of her next move, not so much in terms of thinking about the mistress, but just, and she's not even a mistress anymore because Melody and Martell are divorced. Melody, she brushed him off and she's moving forward. She's going to be changing her last name, and I applaud her. I can't tell this woman how to handle the pain that she's experienced with being in a relationship with this man and in a marriage for all of those years. You can't tell somebody who's been hurt how to feel and how to handle their pain. There's some people that are like, well, okay, if I have to go through pain, then I'm going to get paid for it. And I don't blame her. And that's what Martell doesn't like. So Arionne, watching the show, seeing the times where Martell clearly still has a thing for this woman, but also still wants to control Melody. Like, he's not a good dude, but she still calls him a good guy. She is delusional. She really is delusional. I'm not even sorry, but I'm happy that Melody is in a space where she's winning right now. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. I'm not here to talk about Melody's character when it comes to her girlfriendships and whether she was with another man ever or not. If she had been after they separated and she chose to do that, I wouldn't blame her. I wouldn't say I encourage it, but I would not put her in the same boat as Martell, because Martell clearly was in a relationship with another person while he was married to Melody, and I don't think that this girl was the only one. Maybe not at the same time, and maybe not as long as he was dealing with Arionne, but I don't believe that she was the only one. And she even said that too. She even said it. She's like, well, you know, I know I wasn't the only one. So he's still a good guy in your eyes. You really need help. You really need to learn what a good man really is. But there were a number of things that I listened to and I was just like, oh God, really? When I listened to this interview. But I would really love to know your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything in the interview that you caught wind of that you were just like, wow, okay, or I agree with her, or she's crazy, like what? Let me know your thoughts about the interview and what you caught in the comments section.
Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest.